Alrighty, up next we have Gioachino, and he's going to be talking about volcanoes in a changing climate.
Hello. How many of you know that there are volcanoes in Canada? Yes, there are volcanoes, and yes, they are a significant hazard. How many of you know the effects of climate change on volcanoes? Ice melting from the mountains removes supports from slopes and causes landslide. You can imagine the ice like some sort of protective layer. When the ice melts, the mountain is free to collapse. Now, if your mountain is also a volcano, you have another problem, because volcanoes are a pressurized system, and if you remove pressure by ice melting and landslide, you might have an eruption. Mount Meager is a glaciated volcano north of Vancouver. And during summer 2010, the largest landslide in Canadian history occurred here. We documented ice melting and slope deformation prior to the collapse. You can see the blue line indicates the glacier, the red line indicates the collapse scar, and the yellow line indicates the landslide path. The glacier at the base of the slope retreated, and during the hottest part of the summer, the slope failed catastrophically. The whole mountain, you can see the Tour Eiffel scale, start to move at very high velocity down the valley, damming river, and finally stop very far from the source area. This event occurred when the ice melt was highest, and we see correlation between high temperature, ice melting, and landslide. Today's increase in temperature will cause other large landslides. And at Mount Meager, many other slopes and peaks show signs of deformation and have retreating glacier nearby. Flint Peak, for example, you can see on the right side, has a lot of deformation. And last summer, large fumaroles ice cave formed in the glacier. Fumaroles are hot gases steaming from the volcano. Now the ice is thinner, and the volcanic system can manifest at the surface. The equilibrium over the mountain is changing. In this study, we show that changing pressure on the magmatic system following ice melting and landslide can trigger eruption. Climate change is decompressing volcanoes. And just like uncorking a bottle of champagne for New Year's Eve, happy new eruption!
Any questions?
So is there a correlation between eruptions and climate change if we look prehistorically, geologically?
So yes, it's been demonstrated in Mexico and in California that when the glacier retreated, you had eruption. But what I'm showing here is that you have a chain of events where climate change caused landslide, that then cause decompression and cause eruption. Because in more commonly, or that we are more aware of, is the other way around, where you have an intrusion of new magma that causes a landslide at the surface, and then you have eruption. This is the case of Mount St. Helens in the 80s, for example. This case is the other way around, where a superficial process causes a deep process.
Does this actually threaten many people in Canada?
What?
Does this actually threaten many people in Canada, or are they too far away to...
So actually there is a town, Pemberton, with about 2,000 people, about 50 kilometers downstream, and they would be directly affected by a landslide of this size coming from Mount Meager. And in the last 8,000 years, this seems a long time for non-geologists, but it's actually a very short time. At least 3 landslides coming from Mount Meager went where now there are houses, and you have up to 3 meters of deposit, that if that happened now, that would kill probably some people. So we are working on trying to have some active monitoring of the slopes and develop early warning system to warn the people early enough that can evacuate in case this landslide or other at Mount Meager fail. Yeah.
Are there any other volcanoes in, say, just North America that's susceptible
Yeah, just if you look down the border, there is Mount Baker and Mount Rainier, and then here you can look at Mount Garibaldi and Mount Cayley, that are other volcanoes with glacier. Then if you go up north, you have the volcanoes in Alaska, and then along south, if you go in South America, you have the volcanoes in Patagonia, in Peru, and then you have volcanoes in Antarctica, volcanoes in Russia, Kamchatka, and then you have volcanoes in Iceland, all of them.
Alrighty, any last questions or good? Alrighty, thank you so much.